Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran wa Durara, the jewels of the Quran and spares. Still reading from Surah Al-Ankabut, the spider. And in the last session, we spoke at length about the dialogue, about the relationship with the people of the book, and how the Quran advocates dialoguing with them in the best possible fashion, gracefully. Of course, this does not include those who are proven enemies of Islam and Muslims who inflicted so much harm. But in general, you will find those who are fair and one needs to build bridges. We need a peaceful world as much as possible. We don't want wars. But of course, it means the end of occupation, end of colonialism, end of indirect colonialism. One should not be, one should not take the back seat in terms of civilization, civilizational forces. We have been there. We had a golden era, and we can rebuild that, inshallah. So we'll just mention that verse and just move on. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تجادلوا أهل الكتاب إلا بالتي هي أحسن إلا الذين ظلموا منهم وقولوا آمنا بالذي أنزل إلينا وأنزل إليكم وإلهنا وإلهكم واحد ونحن مسلمون. Do not argue with the people of the book and disgracefully except with those of them who act wrongfully, and say we believe in what has been revealed to us and what was revealed to you. Our God and your God is only one, and to him we fully submit. Believing in what has been revealed before, of course, but we have a sense of we refer to an original revelation, and the books that exist today, they have suffered from the vagaries of transmission, and this is why one should remember that yes, we do have differences. These differences, if you think about the relationship between the Quran and what they have, one should remember a verse from the Quran, وَمُهَيْمِنًا عَلَيْهِ, that the Quran is a witness, the Quran is a trustee, the Quran is a keeper, but also it could abrogate certain things in jurisprudence, and if we differ about any story, any detail, the Quran has the upper hand. This is the meaning of muhayminan alayh. Say, for example, attributing any grave sin to the Prophet, especially adultery, we reject that immediately. This cannot be the case. Many prophets have been either incest or adultery with a married woman, a father-in-law with his daughter-in-law. There are so many stories that we definitely cannot accept. It could be something that's, to give a specific example about Muhaymin. In Genesis, Eve eats first, then she introduces the fruit to Adam alayhi salam. This is not the Quranic story, so this narrative created so much problems for women in Western circles in Judaism and Christianity. I would not say Judeo-Christian because really that construct is uh, it doesn't really. It's a modern thing, and when we can speak about that, there is no such a thing. Uh, neither neither theologically nor historically. Um, and women, and because of this verse, they were blamed for the expulsion from the garden. Well, not the Islamic narrative. The Quran uses the dual suffix pronoun. Both of them were warned, both of them were tempted, both of them succumbed and ate, both of them were expelled. No names were mentioned in the order of eating or expulsion or temptation or no, on equal footing. In fact, it's the other way around. We have more responsibility shouldered on Adam alayhi salam in this story. Again, the next verse would reflect the need for مهيمنا عليه. وكذلك أنزلنا إليك الكتاب فالذين آتيناهم الكتاب يؤمنون به ومن هؤلاء من يؤمن به وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الكافرون. Similarly, meaning similarly to early messengers, similarly we have revealed to you a book addressing the Prophet ﷺ. The faithful, those who to whom we gave the scriptures, believe in it, as do some of these it refers to the pagan Arabs, and none denies our revelation except the stubborn disbelievers. And the order of belief, the followers of any prophet, true followers of any prophet, are really Muslims in the universal sense, not as followers of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So there were monotheist believers in Musa alayhi salam and his message. Before that, we talk about though it was simply a few, but this is the case with Noah, uh, Abraham, and we can continue. We can talk about Isaac and Ishmael. We can talk about Jacob and his 12 sons, all the way to Musa wa Harun. In between, we have the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. We have 25 names in the Quran. So there were previous revelations, we believe, but at the same time, once there is a new prophet in town, in the sense of there is a prophet with a new message, the believers need those who have been good believers up till that moment, until the new revelation took place. They have no choice but to accept. And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which he spoke about Musa alayhi salam, and the text basically لو كان موسى بين الظهرانين لما وسعه إلا أن يتبعني. This is if had Musa had been amongst us, Prophet Moses, had he been amongst us, he would have no choice but to follow me. That's, of course, the context for this is that um, it seems that Sayyidina, that Umar, the Ibn Khattab, he had he listened to narratives from the Jews, and he asked whether they could write some of these. And the Prophet ﷺ, asked her, are you in a state of doubt the way the Jews and the Christians? I brought it to you clear, white, like this is talk about uh, no doubt. And had Musa alayhi salam, because it began by, can we listen to narratives, narrations from the Jews? Can we write these? So the لو كان موسى حيا ما وسعه إلا اتباعي. And there's another narration. This is probably more famous, is that the Prophet ﷺ saw a page, some that included something from the Torah, or a page of the Torah, or something like that. He saw it with Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu anh, and the Prophet ﷺ was, and he again said, لو كان أخي Musa, my brother Moses, had he been alive, he would have no choice but to follow me. Among those who believed in the book from those previous scholars, or even famous ones, we can mention from amongst the Jewish rabbis who became Muslim, and they would fulfill the both. They believed in what they had before, but now that the Prophet ﷺ brought the Qur'an, they believed, such as Abdullah bin Salam. He was a rabbi, and Salman al-Farisi would fulfill that. وكذلك أنزلنا إليك كتاب فالذين آتيناهم الكتاب يؤمنون به. الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يؤمنون به. Those who received the book from before, they believe in the book that was sent now. Those who had the scriptures from before. Now it's basically time to believe in the book that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وما كنت تتلو من قبله من كتاب ولا تخطه بيمينك إذا لارتاب المبطلون. You could not read any writing, you, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even before this revelation, nor could you write at all. Otherwise, the people of falsehood would have been suspicious. We know that the Prophet ﷺ is An-Nabi al-Ummi. He is the Prophet who could not read or write. This could also be understood. He is also the last prophet. He is the seal of the prophets. And in Nabi al-Ummi, there is a possibility because the people of the book, the Jews, they said that when they spoke about al-ummiyin, that they have practically no restrictions in how they deal with the al-ummiyin, who the in English the closest word to al-ummiyin, despite this is not the literal word meaning of ummi. Al-ummiyin here, the closest meaning would be Gentile. And this might explain also the rejection of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now there are prophetic traditions about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam not being able to read or write. In fact, for every human being, it would be something negative when we describe someone as illiterate, except when in the case of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when we mention that he could not read or write, this is really praising him, because really people would say that he got, and we see it today. Until today, some people might say, well, the author of the Quran copied this or copied that, or we don't have even one single story that is the same verbatim as in the previous revelations. This is why Muhaymin alayh, it's the Quran. There is a narration in Sahih Bukhari during the negotiations of Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, the truce of al-Hudaybiyah. The Prophet took the pact, the treaty, and in one narration it says فَكَتَبَ, and only Abu al-Walid al-Baji considered the literal meaning فَكَتَبَ. Never before, never after. He took it literally. كتب, for example, we say that the Prophet ﷺ كتب, he wrote to the kings surrounding the Arabian Peninsula, the kings, the rulers, the princes. He wrote to them. It doesn't mean that he himself wrote. Like today, often in the news they will say that such and such king called another king or another president or another someone to offer condolences, called to congratulate the other leader or prince on the occasion of Eid, for example. He does not call, he does not dial the phone. It would be more accurate to say that he spoke on the phone with such and such. But when they say that he called, it means that someone in the office called. فَكَتَبَ, كَتَبَ, it means someone wrote. In fact, there's another text of the Sulh Hudaybiyah in which the Prophet ﷺ asked the companions to show him where it was written. The messenger of God, I believe, and when they pointed to it, he wiped it because they would not themselves wipe it out. So وما كنت تتلو من قبله من كتاب ولا تخطو بيمينك إذا لارتاب المبطلون. Otherwise, you could not read any writing even before this revelation, nor could you write at all. Otherwise, the people of falsehood would have been suspicious. بل هو آيات بينات في صدور الذين أوتوا العلم وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الظالمون. But this, meaning the Quran, this Quran is a set of clear revelations preserved in the hearts of those gifted with knowledge, and none denies our revelations except the stubborn wrongdoers. We know that the Quran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect this Quran from the vagaries of transmission, protects the Quran from changes. One can speak volumes about things that cannot be really revelation in the Torah, in the Zabur, Book of Psalms, liberally, and the Gospels. We spoke, for example, about attributing grave sins in the Torah. In the Book of Psalms, you will find that rather than revelation from Allah, from God to Prophet David, Sayyidina Dawud alayhi salam, you'll find that pretty much you talk about supplications. So rather than the spiritual from heaven to earth, no, it's from earth to heaven. And there are verses that advocate killing really children, smashing their heads on the rocks. That cannot be revelation. That cannot be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the gospel, we have 4 gospels. We know that they have been chosen from several, a larger pool of gospels. But if one story stands out that is problematic, just to give an example, Jesus Christ was upon him when he was in Beit Fajr. Really fig, because the story is a story of a fig tree. So he was hungry. Jesus Christ was upon him, which is natural, normal. He's a human being. So he was hungry and he saw a fig tree at a distance. He went to that fig tree and it did not have any ripe fruits. So he cursed the fig tree. And the fig tree dried. It's almost like burnt, dried out in one gospel the same day, in another gospel the next day. You know very well this is not the character of Jesus Christ upon him. You know that he would not do that. You know that the average person would not do that. This is why the idea is that the Quran is muhaymin and there is no choice but to accept it, even if you have been a good, believer in a previous revelation. The idea of salvific value, what could save someone in the hereafter? It is believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is believing in all the messages, but of course, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes. Without these beliefs, it doesn't work, unfortunately. وقالوا لولا أنزل عليه آيات من ربه قل إنما الآيات عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين. They say, if only some signs had been sent down to him from his Lord. Say, O Prophet, signs are only with Allah, and I am only sent with a clear warning. The signs that they want material signs, But we have seen it with the Pharaoh and his entourage. There were material signs, but still they did not accept. They accused Prophet Musa alayhi salam of being a magician. That yes, and this does not mean that there are no signs in the universe. The universe is full. It is packed with signs that point to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, suffice it for this session. Still, we have some verses that would not cover at the end of Surah Al-Ankabut. Inshallah, we'll be able to cover all of them in the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa hamdik, shada la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.